pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the village board meeting of June 27th. Roll call.
Caparros.
Here.
Possession.
Here.
Giannotti.
Here.
Thierry.
Here.
Stacy.
Here.
Kraus.
Here.
You've got the minutes of the last meeting in your packet. If there are no changes, would someone like to make a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion? Roll call.
Caparros.
Yes.
Possession.
Yes.
Giannotti.
Yes.
Thierry.
Yes.
Stacy.
Yes.
Kraus.
Yes.
And village clerk.
I just want to do a quick reminder that for the 4th of July parade, any board members that want to ride should probably be here at the village hall by 3 o'clock and decorate the vehicle. I'll have all of the decorations in here for you to use and all the candy and stuff like that because I won't be here. I will be using the police golf cart.
Can you make sure it's here at
Can you make sure it's here, please?
Full gas. We put gas in that.
It'd be fun to see it run out halfway
Yeah.
through.
Just abandon that thing.
Trustees pushing
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Okay, does anyone in the audience wish to address the board? Yes.
Thanks for moving the portage on.
I think it was done the next morning, right?
Yeah, it was.
Matt did it.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Terry Lenning, our police chief, to introduce our new officer.
President Meyer, members of the village board, it's my pleasure to introduce Curtis Ingram, to my left right here. Curtis comes to us from Peatone after 10.5 years. He has a immaculate record there. We did a thorough background on him, and I have all the confidence in the world he is going to be a fine officer here for a long time. He is the hardest working guy in Peatone, in every category, they checked on him. So I have every belief that he will be an exceptional officer here. If you don't mind, we'd like to get maybe a picture with you, Mayor, and
Absolutely.
Curtis.
And welcome.
Curtis, you're welcome to say something, but you don't have to.
After that introduction, I don't.
Chief, give me a call. Chief.
Yeah.
From the flag. All down.
Joe, you got a mental picture for later?
I don't even know my picture. Oh, I'm sorry.
Welcome again. I need to send it to yours. It takes me too long to get into it.
Hey, where are you, Brian?
Hey, hey, as long as everyone's here, why don't you just introduce all of them, because we tend to forget who your
Okay.
officers are.
Yep.
Post it. Yeah, stick around, guys, so I'll introduce you all.
The busiest week of the year is coming, guys.
So with us today is Sergeant Aaron DeCourt, who is responsible for catching the two vandals at the Fireman's Park.
It was Hanson and Linda.
Eric Hansen, our CSO, and he's now on midnight shift. I'm sorry about that, Eric. I'm really unhappy. And Brian Fravel, our corporal on midnight shift. Then we have, I don't forget this guy here. What's his name?
Does this still work for us?
Obviously, Roger's doing a good job in the auto theft department as well. And he helps us here too with things that we needed as well. So that'd be it, Mayor.
And thanks, guys, for your help. You know, we got a long week coming.
Remember these faces during the 4th.
Especially this one, you need.
Nope.
All right. All right, so under my report, we're going to consider a pledge to the Will County Center for Economic Development. We met with Doug Pryor and Kayla Sorensen from Will County CED to discuss the future of the village's participation with that organization moving forward. We have contributed to them for the past 20 years, and our pledge has never increased. We've been sending them $1,000 a year, and I guess everybody else has been pretty much increasing them over the years. So they're asking us to increase to $2,500 a year. They do send us about 40 leads per year, and they've been sending quite a few lately. We've been getting, I see one every couple of weeks, sometimes one a week. So far, nothing has panned out, but that's not due to their efforts, that's due to either we're not a fit, or they're not a fit, or we can't meet their needs. And actually, one of the things that Bob brought up during the meeting was it would be nice to have some sort of exit interview that happened, like what happened to these companies, where did they go? And Doug Pryor told us that they don't always know. Sometimes they don't get a response, they don't know where they went, and there's other times that they morph into other leads where suddenly they come back 6 months later with completely redefined needs, and then they, put forth looking for more bids, and then 6 months later they come back again, and after the 4th or 5th round, sometimes they end up in another state. But he's gonna try to pursue that a little better. And they do have 2 annual events per year. Is that all? Didn't we just go to one? The one that Jeanette and Ben and I went to?
That's a training.
Okay, that's a training
That's a training
session.
session, but they have 2 meetings a year, one in June and one in December.
Okay, and we actually went to one last week, and it's the first time they've had a live one since 2019. I thought it was fantastic. It's an eye-opener breakfast. You leave here at 7 in the morning and go to this meeting. And I'm gonna have Ben do a lot of the report. We're gonna move it up.
Fortunately, Ben, they never sent the PowerPoint out, I didn't include it.
Yeah, no worries.
Well, I'm gonna rain on his parade for just a second, but I thought some of the most interesting stuff in the very beginning had to do with jobs, because I hire where I work, and that's a frustration these days. But they were talking about there's 11.4 million job openings in the US. Unemployment is low. There's 2 jobs for every unemployed person right now. And last year, in the state of Illinois, there were 198,000 new business starts. So it appears that there's a lot of people that are leaving the workforce, starting their own business. It's not that nobody wants to work, which is kind of what the rumor you hear out there. That's not exactly the case. And the Will County unemployment rate is 3.7% right now. But the declining labor force participation has been going on since 1997. But it started so gradually, people didn't notice it at first, and it has been going steadily downhill. And then, of course, when the pandemic hit, it kind of, went down the drain. But it has come back up again from the pandemic lows. But they said this is fueled in a large part by baby boomers retiring. And since the youngest of the baby boomers is in their late 50s, it's going to continue for the next 8 to 10 years. Most of the job openings that are out there now are in the service and retail industry, which are some of the lower paid jobs that aren't necessarily, people aren't zooming to fill those. But did you want to
Yeah, I can.
go on? And I mean, it was a big PowerPoint. There was great stuff about Will County CED. That really kind of perked my ears up when we started
Yeah.
talking about the employment picture.
No, there was a lot of interesting stuff. I have a few things I can share as well. But yeah, I was pretty excited to see. I thought it was very interesting how Will County was presented as number 1 in the state of Illinois for a lot of metrics. I don't have them all listed down, but when we get the PowerPoint packet, we will send it around to everybody. And even regarding current economic circumstances, it seemed like the outlook was pretty good for Will County. In addition to what the village president has shared, there were a few other things I thought were very interesting. The gross regional product for Will County is up nearly 12% from last year. As you noted, the unemployment rate is down significantly. I think it's down 7% from the same time last year. We here in Will County have the 5th highest median household income in the state of Illinois. And it's quite a bit larger than the national median as well. Population is up. We're actually the 2nd highest population growth for a county in Illinois. Yeah, and I guess the only other thing I thought was very interesting is there's a lot, positive outlook for prospects for the state with energy driving development. So EV, solar, hydrogen, and battery development. Yeah, a lot of cool information, I thought. And a lot of good people. So it was, municipalities, government organizations, private businesses, utilities. A very good cross-section of the state is there.
Yep, it was excellent. I think the median household income, they said, is $90,349, which the median in the state is $71,243, and the median in the US is $65,712.
I can agree, I have those written.
Do you have? Yeah. And I think the house value, the median house value is $306 now in Will County. Right?
I didn't write that one down.
Okay. Oh my God, I took pictures of every PowerPoint that they were showing. It's like, look at that.
So yeah, it's very, very good. I thought it was a lot of great information.
Is there a way to tailor this? I mean, because if they're sending the lead out to us, they're sending it out to every other city
Yes.
in Will County that's with us. So is there a way to tailor this to, I don't know, maybe our community a little better, our area, or something that would, I mean, I get it, we're competing against everybody in Will County, and they're all getting the same information. Is there a way to, like, maybe help this so we get more, I guess, streamlined or a better chance of what we get, that we can get it?
I don't know, and I don't know that I would want them to make that decision on anybody's behalf. You know, ours or another town, to like have them kind of arbitrarily decide that this league should go to these towns of this
No,
size. or-
not like that, but is there a way to identify, like, I mean, if we get 40, what do other towns get, I guess? I mean, if we got 40 leads, does another town get 100? Do they get?
I think we all,
Is it just
everybody
everybody
invested,
gets
you get the
everything?
lead.
Mhm.
And then you make a decision whether or not you put a proposal
Okay,
together to
so everybody's
respond.
getting every lead no matter what.
And I would say
Yeah.
we probably put a proposal together for 1 out of 6. Because a
What was
lot
that
of them,
last huge one for wa, was it for
Oh,
water
it was
usage
monster.
or
Yeah.
power?
they wanted 23 megawatts of power and 6 million gallons of water a day. Well, there's no way we can do that.
Yeah, that was the pharmaceutical one.
Yeah, there's no way we can, and there's nowhere, anywhere in Will County that can produce 6 million gallons a day of water. You gotta be by a river or a lake.
Mhm.
to do that.
Great.
And then there's some weird ones, well, or the fish one where they
The
needed.
fish
Oh,
was a
yeah.
very
The
interesting
fish
one.
Oh, yeah, the
they
fish one
needed
was
it to be
very-
30 feet tall, was like,
Yeah.
to raise fish.
Yeah, it's
I mean, they
just-
jump.
a lot of those things didn't make sense, a lot of those, in that fish proposal, I thought it was a unique proposal.
Yep,
We did respond to that one,
it's
even though I
like,
had a
how
lot of
high do they
questions.
jump?
Yeah,
But
but,
130 feet apparently.
yeah, I say 1 out of 6, we put a package together, and Will County CED, what they do is take what I give them and, package it more toward that lead that they have more capabilities of making it look nicer than I do. So I give them bare information on a spreadsheet, they turn it into a graphic. And to me, that's worth, because I don't have the staff and resources to do that they do. So for the $2,500 a year, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think we get our money's worth out of it.
And he, the current, the former head of Will County CED has retired, John Grueling. Doug Pryor's relatively new, and you said he had been a village administrator
He was,
before?
and he was the county administrator in Grundy County before
Okay.
this job.
He's kind of a little more boots on the ground as far as being familiar with engineering and what projects take. So he's very helpful. He made a comment that now he's become so familiar with our area and what our different projects look like and where all our utilities are, that he says sometimes he could almost put these in himself because he's pretty familiar with what we're proposing. So that's a huge help too. He came out, drove around so he could see the territory, and that's something that didn't necessarily happen in the past.
Right.
You know, he's very approachable and seems to be really interested in reaching out to all of these areas, so.
We have assets, and one of the assets we do have is lots of land that's reasonably priced compared to the west side of the county.
And rail.
And we have rail access. We don't have a good interchange, unfortunately, but the availability of land is gonna be big someday.
Yep.
Someday.
So anyway, what does anyone think? Are we willing to do the 2,500 a year as opposed to the 1,000? I think it's well worth the money with what they're offering.
I definitely think so as well.
Keep going with that.
I mean, as soon as if one of these leads, hits, that's, money very well spent.
Yeah, and if you would ask, where would the money come from this year, we didn't budget the 2,500. Our enterprise zone is gonna be paying us back a bonus, because we have too much money on account, and we agreed as a board, we're gonna reimburse ourselves out of the enterprise zone, so we should be getting about $2,500 back from the enterprise.
And we already have budgeted 1,000, right?
Correct, so you'd still be 1,000 ahead.
Would someone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I would do that. I would make a motion to increase the pledge to the Will County Center for Economic Development to $2,500 per year.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion? Roll call?
Kraus,
Yes.
Stacy,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Benati,
Yes.
Possession,
Yes.
Capros.
Yes.
All right, that ends my report. Finance and Administration Committee, trustee Capora.
All right, consider an agreement with First Mid-State Inc. as underwriter and placement agent with respect to the village GO bonds. The closed agreement is there, it's been vetted by the village attorney. So I'll go ahead and make a motion to enter into an agreement with First Mid-State Inc. as underwriter and placement agent with respect to the village's GO bonds.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second, discussion, roll call.
Caprows?
Yes.
Possession?
Yes.
Giannotti?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Stacy?
Yes.
Kraus?
Yes.
All right, consider a motion authorizing Chapman and Cutler LLP as bond disclosure counsel to the underwriter placement agent with respect to the village's GO bonds. This will allow for the first task to be completed, the drafting of the ordinance, asking the question of the bonds for the new police station to the voters to be voted upon at the second July meeting. We will have a dollar amount to be requested of the voters. By that time, the referendum will then be on the Tuesday, November 8th election. So I will go ahead and make a motion authorizing Chapman and Cutler LLP as bond disclosure counsel to the underwriter placement agent with respect to the village's GO bonds.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second, discussion, roll call.
Kraus?
Yes.
Stacy?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Giannotti?
Yes.
Possession?
Yes.
Caprows?
Yes. Yeah, that's my report.
Public Buildings and Properties, Parks and Recreation Committee, trustee Giannotti.
Nice short one for you. Splash pad water use update. Matt, did you wanna?
Yes, so the splash pad grand opening was held on May 21st, which was 38 days ago, and to date, we have used 634,000 gallons that's gone through the splash pad, so it's definitely getting used. I know some of us have driven down there, past there during the day, and it's packed. It's
Yeah.
definitely getting a lot of use, so definitely a good investment.
To give you an idea of how much water that is, that's 6 1/3 of our water tower that's up in the air. So that water tower turned over 6 times in 3 days with a splash pad, so it's really getting used.
To kind of piggyback off of that as well, just a heads up, the splash pad will be closed starting tomorrow morning, due to the carnival rolling into town. We didn't want any kids running around while the carnival's rolling in equipment and stuff like that. So we'll have it shut down and barricaded, till the carnival rolls out, and we'll make sure to let everyone know when it's back open again.
Anything like fenced off or?
Yeah, we'll have fencing around it, that way no one's on it, like during the fireworks or anything, no one parks their car or drives a golf cart through it or anything like that. So, also, the permanent bathrooms, have been reopened after, getting damaged, so we reopened the bathrooms on, what was it, Tuesday?
Thursday.
On a Thursday, and by Saturday, the toilet paper rolls were broken off and the toilets were plugged, so Superintendent Connor was able to get down there. They were able to get the bathrooms reopened before this past weekend, and the police ended up investigating that, so.
Do you want to give us an update on that?
I'd be glad to.
Thank you.
The culprits were 2 juveniles. They were arrested, juvenile-wise, and charged, and they will be doing community service and providing restitution for the price of the equipment they damaged and for the staffing that Matt's people have to, the hourly fee that they charge to put it up again.
And I've suggested to the chief that we put an update on our Facebook pages, of course not mentioning names, but letting the public know that we got some very successful video of what happened at the park and that the culprits were caught.
What was the monetary amount? Does anybody know?
19.
319.
So, is there any way we can include the police department's cost in with that, not just the PWs? Because you had an investigator.
We can, John, but the judges don't normally like that. And right now, it's not going, we're not referring them to court, but if they don't comply, we will petition them to court. So we actually could do that.
Just seems a little
The terms of their community service, and I can't mention specifics because they're juveniles,
I know.
is kind of ironic what they're gonna have to do. Right, Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Okay.
we'll leave it at that. And that will conclude my report.
All right. Planning, Building and Zoning Committee, trustee Stacy.
Thank you, Mayor. The draft of the Eastern Will County Freight Mobility Study released for review and comment. survey requested. Will County has released its report of alternatives for the new east-west truck corridor, and it's asking elected officials to weigh in on the best alternative. What is aggravating about this is the plan is ignored everything happening south of Pauling Road and will not address our issues on County Line Road that we are experiencing. Please see the enclosed report. And that's all I have here.
So that only goes on good now, right? I looked at the map.
And it's aggravating because they're addressing concerns based on population need and not where the actual problems are. So county line is a serious, serious problem, but we don't have enough people down here to voice our concerns. So the attention is addressed to Frankfurt, Moni Creek, that stretch up there. And really the problem is at county line. So I don't know how many people are gonna have to die, and I said that at a hearing
Yeah.
at the University Park Golf Club. How many people have to die at county line and Route 1 before somebody does something?
And I believe, your comments were misunderstood. And they thought that the problem was at County Line and Route 50. So
Yeah.
I got some emails after that and I said, no, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Route 1 and County Line. So I think they.
Eagle Lake and Route 1, County Line and Route 1.
Yep.
I mean, so basically they asked for everyone's opinion about ours, and then ignored it, I guess is what I'm asking. 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Yeah.
It's political.
Okay. And
That's my report.
all right, Public Safety Committee, Trustee Terry.
Thank you, Mayor. Has everybody had the opportunity to meet our new officer, Curtis Ingram? Chief, do you want to give a status on our second hire? I think we're still doing the background.
Second officer is a Chicago police officer. In a normal situation, we would look suspiciously at that, but judging by what's going on in Chicago, I totally understand why you'd want to leave. And there's hundreds of Chicago officers flying all over the suburbs right now, so. But we are looking a little closer into Chicago police officer. So I went to Chicago Police Headquarters last week, looked through his personnel file, there are no issues at all. I talked to his direct supervisor today, said he's two of his best guys, and that he has a whole big squad of officers. I don't see any issue with this guy. We only have a few more things to do, and he's ready to start the 1st of August. A couple other things, Joe,
Squad car?
squad car?
No, I mean,
So he's got a couple.
you guys,
So, our squad car, we've already picked it up, and the equipment has taken a really long time. We ordered it a couple months ago, and it's not in yet. When we picked up the squad car a week and a half ago, the salesman told me that you're not gonna get your second car this year. And we can't even order it until the fall. He said, you're not gonna get it this year. It might even be way into next year. He said, but we do have another car coming in that's fully equipped with lights and everything, but it costs $6,000 more than the state bid plus the $12,000 that we would pay to put the lights and everything on the car. So I may be coming to you at some point and determining whether you want to do that. I will say that we did get the camera grant for, and we haven't been told yet that it's either going to be partially funded or fully funded. I believe we'll be fully funded, the whole $65,000, because we didn't ask for a lot like most of the other ones will. But I may be coming back to you and asking if you want to do that to get the second squad car this year, but it is going to cost more than.
So we could take it out of the camp.
We could. No, we can't use that money for the grant money to pay for that squad car.
No, we could take the money we budgeted to pay for the
Yeah,
cameras.
that's for right. And then, we have the bike rodeo on Saturday. It starts at 8:30 check-in and 9 o'clock start. We have 7 volunteers, we need 3 or 4 more. If anybody would like to volunteer, I'm not gonna put you on the spot, but see me later if you wanna. We could sure use you.
Can you say that, those times again, Saturday, what?
8:30 check-in, 9 o'clock start.
How long does it go for?
Honestly, don't know.
Till about 11.
And, you know, the new squad car is here,
Yeah, the new squad car's here a week and a half ago.
just waiting to be striped, right?
It'll be marked car, both of these will be marked car.
Thank you. And then I'd like to, the Public Safety Commission met last week, and we had interviewed applicant for part-time police officer, and I'd like to consider the appointment of Vincent Logan as a part-time police officer. Make a motion to appoint Vincent Logan as a part-time police officer.
Serious issue.
All right, and there is, and this one needs your approval, everybody has been, this has been checked.
Once you approve it, then I'll give them a conditional offer and start it back on.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second, discussion? Roll call?
Gross,
Yes.
Possession,
Yes.
Giannotti,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes,
Stacy,
Yes.
Kraus.
Yes.
and that concludes my report.
Just one other item, Chief Lemley attended Zion's farewell service for Pastor Rock and presented a plaque. Is he gonna continue on as chaplain? Or is he retired as
He's gonna
chaplain?
continue on as chaplain, or else we wouldn't have given him the plaque, no.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding, Pastor Rock.
He came to the ceremony and stood up and made a speech and presented him the plaque. So on behalf of Zion, thank you.
Okay, Public Works Committee, trustee Kraus.
Thank you. Consider payment in the amount of $245,691 to Brant Excavating as partial payment for lead service line replacement, pending receipt of IEPA loan funds. See the enclosed pay request.
I think the check came today, did it not? From the EPA, Jeanette?
One came last week.
Maybe it was last week. Okay, we have the money.
So I'd like to make a motion, make a payment in the amount of $245,691 to Brant Excavating as partial payment for lead service line replacement.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second, discussion? Roll call?
Kraus,
Yes.
Stacy.
Yes.
Terry,
Yes,
Giannotti,
Yes.
Possession,
Yes.
Capros.
Yes.
Consider a change order for Brant Excavation in the amount of $40,358.44 for hardscapes restoration based on unit pricing for exploratory excavations. There are several incidents where copper was detected at the meter in the home since the home was replumbed, but the village had no record of a service line being replaced. This required an exploratory dig by the B-Box to determine if a lead or copper service line existed. There were also lines which had to be replaced, which were originally not on the list. Many of these B-Boxes were in a driveway or sidewalk. On Indiana Avenue, they were actually inside the cement swale, so the lines were dug into the roadway. This change order is within the IEPA contingency of the base bid and should be covered by the loan and by forgiveness. The village board must approve the change order first. So I'd like to make a motion for a change order in the amount of $40,358.44 to Brant Excavation for hardscape restoration.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second, discussion? Roll call?
Capros.
Yes.
Possession,
Yes.
Giannotti,
Yes.
Terry,
yes,
Stacy,
Yes.
Kraus.
Yes. And lead service line replacement update, Matt?
To date, they have only 8 services left to complete, and once the change orders go through the state, they'll continue on those remaining 8, and they're hoping to be done by the middle of July. They have done numerous sod as well as asphalt restorations around town. They're continuing on the asphalt this week to try to get as much done before the 4th of July as possible. So that's where they're at with that.
I am going to tell you, I've been on some calls with the municipal league committees. There are some towns that are crying about how they're going to get this lead service line program off the ground financially, and here we're gonna be done with it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we did what we did when we did it, because you're gonna be told you have to do it.
And then Gold Street Water Main Project, Matt?
Yeah, so most of the water main along Gould Street is in place. They did do a service tie-in to the tower last Friday. Just today, they closed the Penfield Street Railroad crossing to do the jack and bore underneath that. That will be closed for approximately 2 weeks. On July 5th, Indiana Avenue crossing is scheduled to be closed until July 22nd. They will not start Indiana Avenue until Penfield Street is complete and back open. So
I think
everything.
Indiana's gonna be one lane, traffic, portable traffic.
Yeah, we've heard two different things, that it was originally going to be closed, and now we're hearing that they're putting up portable traffic lights that down to one lane, so keep traffic moving. So, but there are signs up there now that says that this road will be closed on July 5th. So it's kind of contradicting. So we'll see kind of what happens. But the project itself is going really smooth. They're planning on being done probably mid-August. They have to do chlorination testing as well as pressure testing, and then they'll start connecting services hopefully within the next few weeks. So should.
And it will not affect the parade route.
Nope.
Penfield will remain closed probably over the holiday weekend.
Yeah.
But that does not affect the parade route.
Nope.
IDOT awards bid to airport paving in the amount of $5,343,399.98, contingent on federal compliance review for the total replacement of Penfield Street from Gould to Dixie and resurfacing Gould from Penfield to Indiana. This is an 80-20 federal local project, but the village has exceeded the capped amount of the project, which means $1,366,622, or 24% of total project costs, or $33,422 more than the $1,333,200 predicted in October 21st report to the village board on engineers' estimates of probable cost. Given the devastating economic conditions which have changed since October of last year, we believe this bid is very good. Despite having 6 bid packets pulled, only 2 bids were submitted, and the other bid was from Gallagher in the amount of $6.6 million. Great news that we can get this project off the ground now, and 23 shaping up to be a busy construction year.
I'm very pleased with that. And now, half the projects on that state bid list didn't even get a bid. Didn't even get a bid. So we got 2, and we got one that was within 30,000 of engineer's estimate. So I think it's a good way we need to go. We need to move forward. Was 2013 we started this project. It took 9 years to get it to bid. 9 years. Man.
Well 3 repair update. We lost well 3 to an electrical problem during the first heat wave and learned that the variable speed drive on the motor burned out. We bypassed the drive to make the motor work temporarily, but the drive needs to be replaced with continued flows into the tank. The drive will cost $15,000 and the labor will be quite extensive. So this work will be charged to well 5 generator line, $35,000 this year, since we did not budget nearly enough for the generator and it's on a 1-year wait list. We will discuss the new costs and merits of the generator next budget cycle. That being said, we operated efficiently with these 2 wells online, but if we were to have a major fire in town, a water main break, or if one of the other 2 wells went out, we would have been on thin ice. This is why the department and committee continues to stress redundancy and backup plans for water supply and distribution. And I kept it short too, so I'm done.
Economic Development and Community Relations Committee, trustee session.
Thank you very much. So we've already covered the CED, so we'll move on to item 2. Consider a facade grant program. The committee is looking into the merits of such a program, how it can be funded, and what the appropriate level of participation would be for such a program. The village did have a facade grant program back in the mid-1990s, and the information is enclosed. Back then, the program was a 50-50 match with a $2,000 cap on the village's share. $10,000 was budgeted. The program at that time was defunded after the first year, since only 3 applicants were funded and all of the applicants were located along Dixie Highway. The intent of the program was to target the old downtown area, but none of the money was spent in that area. Now, however, we have a TIF district, and if TIF funds are used for the funding can only be spent in the district, so there would be a geographical limitation. This is just an idea, and the committee is looking for some direction on whether there is interest in such a program and what the parameters should be. The board could also use other revenue sources, such as general funds or ARPA, and create any rules it sees fit. Whatever is decided, we should keep it simple for both the applicant and the village. So if anyone has thoughts on the topic, we would like to hear them.
So, I think something like this could be done, but it'd have to be very strategic how it's done. When you start helping certain businesses and not others, when you pigeonhole it just to one area, willing to help but not another area, I think that can get a little bit of a tricky issue. I hate the idea of using general or ARPA, especially ARPA. So that's kind of.
Is this to fill a hole in the TIF district, or, I mean, I guess what's,
So I think we're kind of looking at here, I think where it started from, was a desire to see improvements in the old downtown area.
And I believe one of the businesses had made some contact
It
as far as
wanted to know if there was a facade.
if there was a facade grant program, yeah, and it was one of the downtown businesses. So that's kind of what spurred off the conversation in the first place.
So I think there's things you can do without necessarily giving money to an individual business. We did the boardwalk. There was talk at time of looking into doing a mural down there. There's been talk, we got all the conduit ran underneath the boardwalk to do lighting on the boardwalk, to do benches, planter boxes. And there's a lot of other things you can do to improve the aesthetics of the downtown area without necessarily having to hand one business money for facade improvement while leaving out all the businesses on another side of town. So, I mean, I think if you're wanting to do something like that, I think you could possibly achieve something in that aspect of, like I said, I don't know exactly who approached you, what they asked for, or anything like that, so.
We do have an active grant application for Gould Street now, and it's like 1.4 million, 1.5 million, and 300,000 is our local match. We probably should wait to see where that fans out. If we don't get that, then we can focus on public improvements, like the lighting under the boardwalk and other things, if you don't wanna do a facade grant program. That benefits the whole street, doesn't benefit a specific business. But I wouldn't wanna spend money on that now and then find out that was grant eligible, you know, if we get the grant. I hope we get the grant, because we struck out on the last two, this is the next one. We didn't get a sidewalk app, and we didn't get a festivals grant. Now the downtown grant is due any
So what's that
week
timeline?
now. Well, when's the election?
Yeah.
These things seem to be timed with elections, with general elections, not the primaries.
Right.
So I would anticipate late summer, early fall, we'll know about Gould Street. But then we have to come up with 300,000 local match for that, so. That's a total rebuild. Once that's done, you won't have to do anything in downtown. This Penfield will be done, Gould will be done, Publix, on the public side. And then the other thing is the TIF district, hopefully in time will generate funds. And something like this facade grant, TIF money could be used for maybe beyond just facades, but other things.
Sure. Now, I think right now the TIF district probably would not have funds available
I know there's an individual down there that probably wouldn't fix the facade on his building if he can't get sprinklers in there, because he can't use it for anything. So we have other infrastructure issues in the downtown than just facades, you know? But I think the facade grant program is a good idea. I just think when we did it 20 years ago,
There were no
those that,
parameters set up.
yeah, and those that had the money got the money. Those that didn't have the money to come up with the local match couldn't get anything done. So, Maybe
that
we should
was,
just wait a month
I
or
didn't
two.
wanna go there, but since you went there, there was money available for businesses and stuff, and how many in Beecher applied for it through the county?
The COVID-related stuff, yes, that was very aggravating to me. I did get one individual to apply, but I don't know if that individual got money.
Yeah, there's,
But it was a struggle to get these businesses to fill out a two-page form to the state to get 15 grand. The county was handing out $15,000 checks to anyone who applied, and I just couldn't get anyone to do it, you know. Piatone got 5, and we got 8, Creek got 6, so we got 0. But we tried.
No, this is good feedback though. Does anybody else have any, anything they would like to say on the topic? Any thoughts to share?
The only thing, if we're gonna do this, I think I'd sort of like to see more of a, I guess, village-wide, if we're gonna come up with money, do something that we can put throughout the village, not just in one, 2, 3, 4 blocks, whatever it is. I gotta be honest, I don't have any ideas what that is right now. But I'd like to see something that maybe benefits, if we can do a little wider benefit for our bang for our buck than, that area, just, specific area, or that and something else.
No, it's good, there are no bad ideas here, I would say.
yeah, I think if you're gonna, I don't think like what Todd says. I don't have a problem targeting one area of the town as far as aesthetics and doing improvements, roads, stuff like that, but when you're talking about individual businesses, it's gotta be something village-wide.
Painted water towers everywhere, whatever they do.
And I think at some point, because you're driving me nuts with this, because it's come up so many times, at some point, I think this board needs to sit down and decide what you're gonna do with this ARPA money. And it needs to be a certain condition, because I get frustrated hearing it come up as a solution for, possible this or that or this or that. I think at some point, this board needs to, and I don't know if that's maybe partly on me to where we draft some sort of resolution that spells it out as far as the future, what the board spends the money on ARPA for, but it's.
Sounds like a great topic for your next committee report.
Yeah, exactly,
to the
that's what
board
I'm saying,
in
and
July.
we can have that, yeah, because the sign out front is done and figured out, it was used for whatever, but, there's still a chunk of what's left, and I think this board needs to come to, finance committee can meet and kind of put some ideas out there as far as, and then let the entire board decide what they wanna, use it for, but to hear it keep coming up, reading it, keep coming up as a possible.
It's the new Wall Street Bank. It's been said.
Yeah,
Spent
yeah,
17 different
exactly.
times.
It's been spent 20 different times Sunday, yeah.
The board can still make a decision whether it wants to use water main replacement funds or ARPA funds to cover the remaining boosting costs. We approve that bid, but you could change your mind
Yeah.
and say, hey, we're gonna do something else with it. So really, the only money we've committed so far is the 7.
Yeah, but the other 3 is, you gotta, let's see what the board wants to do, and then you decide if you need that or not.
I just do need 230 to cover the rest of the bid from somewhere. Infrastructure, water main fund.
Yeah, well, guys, I think that's very good. A lot of good ideas here, a lot of good feedback, and I appreciate it. So that concludes my report.
All right, any old business to come before the board?
The only things, thank the police commission, thank the chief, we meet 4 times, get 3 hires. So it's not a
Been
one
working.
type of thing, it's several interviews to narrow down the splash pad of applicants we get. That's all.
It'd be nice to get a full staffing, wouldn't it? We haven't been in full staffing since you've been here, have we?
Yeah, we did it for 3 months.
We did?
Or 2.
So Andy left.
That's how we got him in. Look, we were full still.
Thanks. Thanks, Bob.
Is there any new business to come before the board? If not, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second, roll call.
Kraus,
Yes.
Stacy,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Giannotti,
Yes.
Possession,
Yes.
Caprows.
Yes.